Welcome back. Today, we are going to fix something that has quietly been holding you back. Those long pauses, those empty seconds, that moment when your mind goes blank and everyone is waiting for you to continue. If you have ever started speaking with confidence and suddenly felt your thoughts disappear, this story is for you. Let me tell you about Daniel. Daniel was smart. He read books. He watched lessons. He understood everything in English. But when it was time to speak, something strange happened. His sentences broke apart. His voice slowed down. His brain searched for words like it was digging in the dark. Every pause felt heavy. Every silence felt embarrassing. People would look at him, waiting. Some were patient, some were not. Daniel began to think the problem was his intelligence. Maybe he was not fast enough. Maybe he was not talented enough. But that was not the truth. The real problem was this. Daniel had trained his mind to think before speaking too much. He was trying to build the perfect sentence in his head before opening his mouth. He was chasing perfection instead of flow, and perfection is slow. One evening, after another awkward presentation, Daniel made a decision. He stopped trying to sound impressive. He decided to sound simple. The next day, when someone asked him a question, he answered with short sentences. Clear sentences, not long, complex ones. He did not try to use advanced vocabulary. He focused only on finishing his thought without stopping. Something interesting happened. He still made small mistakes, but he did not freeze. His ideas moved forward. His voice stayed steady. The pauses became shorter. That was the moment he understood something powerful. Fluency is not about knowing more words. It is about trusting the words you already know. When you pause too much, it is usually because you are translating in your head, or you are checking your grammar before speaking, or you are afraid of making a mistake. Fear creates hesitation. Hesitation creates silence. So Daniel changed his training. Instead of studying silently for hours, he started speaking out loud every day, 5 minutes, then 10. He talked about his day. He described what he saw. He explained simple ideas in simple language. At first, it felt uncomfortable. His sentences were basic. His vocabulary was not impressive, but he noticed something important. The more he spoke, the less he paused. His brain began to adapt. It stopped searching for perfect words and started using available words. His thoughts became faster because he stopped judging them. This is the first secret to speaking without pausing. Speed does not come from thinking harder. It comes from thinking simpler. When you reduce the pressure to be perfect, your mind relaxes. When your mind relaxes, your words flow. Daniel also practiced something else. He allowed himself to continue speaking even if the sentence was not perfect. Instead of stopping and correcting himself, he kept going. He chose movement over accuracy, and movement builds rhythm. Over time, his pauses turned into natural breathing spaces, not nervous silence, just calm transitions between ideas. The difference was small at first, but small changes, repeated daily, become big transformations. If you see yourself in Daniel, understand this clearly. You are not bad at speaking. You are just overthinking. Your voice does not need to be perfect. It needs to be active. In this journey, we will rebuild the way you speak, step by step, calmly, practically, with simple tools you can use every day. This is only the beginning. In the next part, we will go deeper into the exact exercises Daniel used to train his brain and remove long pauses completely. For now, remember this. Flow begins when fear ends, and fear ends when action begins. The next morning, Daniel did not wake up confident. He did not suddenly feel powerful or fluent. He still felt nervous. But this time, he had a plan. Instead of waiting for confidence, he decided to train for it. He stood in his room and looked around. He chose the simplest exercise possible. He described everything he could see. This is my desk. It is small and brown. My laptop is open. There is a cup of coffee next to it. At first, he paused between every sentence. His brain still wanted to translate. It still wanted to search for better words. But he made one rule for himself. Do not stop moving forward. If he did not know a word, he replaced it with an easier one. If he forgot a detail, he skipped it. The goal was not beauty. The goal was continuity. That was his second discovery. Pauses grow when you try to be exact. Flow grows when you allow imperfection. After 5 minutes, something interesting happened. His sentences started connecting faster. Not perfectly, but more smoothly. His brain began to trust the process. Daniel then added a second exercise. He asked himself simple questions and answered them out loud. What did I do yesterday? I went to work. I finished a project. I talked to my manager. He forced himself to keep answers short and direct. No long explanations. No complex grammar. Just clear communication. This reduced pressure. When pressure goes down, pauses shrink. Over the next few days, he noticed a pattern. The more he practiced speaking alone, the less his mind froze in conversations. It was as if his brain was building a new road for thoughts to travel faster. But he still had one problem. When speaking with real people, anxiety returned. So he added a third step. He practiced speaking while slightly uncomfortable. He recorded himself on his phone. Not to judge his voice, not to criticize mistakes, only to observe pauses. When he listened back, he realized something important. Many of his pauses were not because he did not know what to say. They were because he doubted what he was about to say. Doubt creates delay, so he created a new rule. Say the first clear idea that comes to your mind. Not the smartest idea, not the most impressive one, the clearest one. This changed everything. In conversations, instead of searching for perfect structure, he focused on delivering one idea at a time. One idea. Then the next. Then the next. Speech became simpler, and simple speech flows. Daniel also practiced controlled breathing. Before answering a question, he took one slow breath. Not a long dramatic pause, just one steady breath to calm his nervous system. This prevented panic pauses. He learned that many pauses are not language problems. They are emotional reactions. When your body feels safe, your words feel safe. Weeks passed. Daniel was not suddenly a perfect speaker, but he was no longer afraid of silence. When a small pause appeared, he did not panic. He continued calmly, and that calmness reduced future pauses. This is the key lesson of this stage. You do not eliminate pauses by fighting them. You reduce them by building rhythm. Rhythm comes from repetition. Repetition comes from daily action. In the next part, we will go deeper into mental speed training. Because speaking without pausing is not only about words, it is about how fast your thoughts organize themselves, and that can be trained. By the third week, Daniel noticed something new. His pauses were shorter, but more importantly, they no longer scared him. That was a big change. Before, every small silence felt like failure. Now, a short pause felt normal. It felt like breathing. And that shift in mindset made his speech more natural. But Daniel wanted more progress. He did not just want fewer pauses. He wanted smoother thinking. So he began training his mental speed. He realized that speaking without pausing is not only about moving your mouth. It is about organizing thoughts quickly. If your thoughts are messy, your speech will be slow. So he added a powerful daily habit. He practiced structured thinking. Every day, he chose one simple topic. For example, why exercise is important. Before speaking, he quickly created a 3-step structure in his mind. First point, second point, third point. Then he spoke. Exercise is important for your body. It makes you stronger. It also improves your mood. And it gives you more energy during the day. Short, clear, organized. This small structure removed confusion. When your brain knows the path, it moves faster. Daniel understood something important. Many pauses happen because we try to think and speak at the same time without direction. But when you build a small mental roadmap first, even into seconds, your words follow smoothly. He started doing this everywhere. If someone asked him about his weekend, he quickly thought, 1. Where I went. 2. What I did. 3. How I felt. Then he answered. No long searching. No panic. Just organized flow. Another technique he practiced was time pressure training. He set a timer for 1 minute and spoke continuously about a random topic. The rule was simple. Do not stop. If you forget a word, explain it differently. If you get stuck, repeat the last idea and continue. At first, it felt difficult, but this exercise trained his brain to stay active under pressure. Pauses became smaller because his mind stopped freezing when time felt limited. He also stopped apologizing for small mistakes. Before, when he made an error, he would stop and correct himself. That created double pauses. Now he kept going. Fluency improved because movement never stopped. Slowly, people around him noticed the difference. He sounded calmer, more confident, not because his vocabulary had suddenly grown, but because his rhythm had changed. Rhythm creates confidence. Confidence reduces hesitation, and less hesitation means fewer pauses. Daniel finally understood a powerful truth. Speaking without pausing is not about being fast. It is about being steady. Fast speakers can still freeze, but steady speakers rarely do. When your breathing is calm, your thoughts are organized, and your expectations are simple. Your speech flows naturally. You do not need advanced words. You need controlled thinking. In the next part, we will explore how to handle real conversations and unexpected questions. without falling back into long, uncomfortable silence. Real conversations were Daniel's final test. Practicing alone was safe. Talking to real people was different. People interrupt. They ask unexpected questions. They change topics quickly. And this is where many speakers freeze again. The first time Daniel tried to use his new skills in a group discussion, he felt the old fear return. His heart beat faster. His hands felt slightly cold. But this time, he did not try to fight the fear. He focused on one thing only: stay steady. When someone asked for his opinion, he did not rush. He took one calm breath, not long enough to feel awkward, just enough to relax his body. Then he used the 3-point structure again. I think this idea is useful. First, it saves time. Second, it reduces cost. And third, it makes work easier. Simple, organized, clear. He noticed something surprising. When he focused on structure instead of vocabulary, his mind felt lighter. He was not searching for perfect words anymore. He was delivering ideas, and ideas are easier than perfection. But then came an unexpected question, one he had not prepared for. For a second, his mind went blank. This was the old moment, the dangerous one. Before, he would panic and freeze. Now, he used a bridge sentence. That's a good question. Let me think about it for a moment. This small sentence gave him time. It turned silence into control. Instead of an awkward pause, it became a natural thinking space. This is an important technique. When you feel a pause coming, do not stay silent. Use a short bridge phrase. It keeps your voice active while your brain organizes the answer. Daniel practiced a few of these bridge phrases. That's interesting. I have 2 thoughts about that. Let me explain it step by step. These simple lines protected him from long silence. Over time, he became comfortable with small pauses. He understood that natural speakers also pause. The difference is that they pause with confidence, not fear. Confidence changes how silence feels. A nervous pause feels heavy. A confident pause feels intentional. Daniel also learned to slow down slightly. When he used to rush, his thoughts crashed into each other. Slowing down by just 10% made his speech clearer and reduced mental pressure. Speed is not power. Control is power. In longer conversations, he focused on listening more carefully. Good. Listening reduces pauses because you understand better and respond more directly. He stopped thinking about his next sentence while the other person was still speaking. Instead, he listened fully. Then he answered simply. This reduced confusion. Week after week, his improvement became obvious. He was not perfect. He still paused sometimes. But those pauses were short, calm, and natural. The biggest change was inside him. He no longer feared the blank moment. He knew how to handle it. And when fear disappears, flow begins to feel natural. In the next part, we will explore how to handle high-pressure situations, like presentations or interviews, where pauses often become stronger and more visible. High-pressure situations were different. Casual conversations were one thing, but presentations, meetings, and interviews were another level. In those moments, the fear of pausing feels stronger because more eyes are watching. Daniel knew this would be his biggest test. A few weeks later, he had to give a short presentation at work. In the past, this would have terrified him. He would rehearse every sentence again and again, trying to memorize everything perfectly. And that was exactly why he used to freeze. Memorizing creates pressure. When you forget one word, your whole structure collapses. This time, he prepared differently. Instead of memorizing sentences, he prepared ideas. He wrote 3 main points on a small card. Just keywords, not full sentences. Point 1, problem. Point 2, solution. Point 3, result. That was all. Before starting, he took one slow breath. He reminded himself of a simple rule: speak to communicate, not to impress. When he began, his voice felt slightly tight, but he did not rush. He spoke slowly, clearly, and focused only on explaining the first idea. Because he was not trying to remember long sentences, his mind stayed flexible. If he forgot a word, he explained it differently. If he lost a phrase, he continued with the next idea. Something powerful happened. There were small pauses, yes, but they felt natural. They felt controlled. No panic. No freezing. He noticed that the audience was not looking for perfection. They were listening for clarity. That changed his mindset forever. Many pauses are born from the fear of judgment, but most people are not judging you as harshly as you judge yourself. After the presentation, a colleague told him, "You sounded calm and confident." Daniel smiled. He remembered the old version of himself who believed he was a bad speaker. The truth was different. He had never been bad. He had simply been untrained. He also learned another important lesson in high-pressure moments. Energy matters. If you speak with very low energy, your brain becomes slow. If you speak with controlled energy, your thinking becomes sharper. So before important conversations, he moved his body. A short walk, a few deep breaths, small physical activation. When the body wakes up, the mind follows. He also accepted that silence is not the enemy. Panic is the enemy. When he removed panic, silence lost its power over him. By this stage, Daniel understood the full picture. Speaking without pausing is not about eliminating silence completely. It is about removing fear, building structure, and training mental speed. It is about trusting simple words. It is about choosing progress over perfection. And most of all, it is about daily practice. Because confidence is not built in one big moment. It is built in many small, quiet repetitions. In the next part, we will explore how to think faster in real time, so your answers come naturally, even when you have no time to prepare. Now Daniel wanted to improve one final skill: thinking fast in real time. Because sometimes you do not get preparation. No notes. No structure. No warning. Just a sudden question and many eyes waiting. In the past, this was where he froze the most. A manager would ask, "What do you think about this plan?" And his mind would go completely blank, not because he had no opinion, but because he tried to build the perfect answer instantly. So he trained for speed differently. Instead of preparing content, he practiced reacting. Every day, he used random question training. He opened a website with random topics. Or he asked a friend to surprise him with questions. Then he gave himself only 3 seconds before answering. Not to prepare a perfect response, only to choose a direction. That was the key. He learned that you do not need the full answer immediately. You only need the first step. For example, if someone asked, "Is online learning better than classroom learning?" Before, he would search for strong arguments. Now, he chose a simple direction. I think online learning has some big advantages. That one sentence gave him momentum. After momentum starts, ideas follow more easily. This technique is powerful. Start with a position, then explain one reason, then add another. Your brain works better when it moves forward, not when it waits for perfection. Daniel also practiced thinking out loud. When he needed time, he did not stay silent. He shared his thinking process. That's an interesting question. I believe there are two sides to it. On one hand, while he spoke, his brain continued organizing the rest of the answer. This reduced dead silence. He understood something important. Pausing too long usually means you are thinking silently. Fluent speakers think while speaking. That does not mean they talk nonsense. It means they build ideas step by step in public. He also trained with speed variation. Some days, he forced himself to answer quickly. Other days, he practiced slow, controlled speech. This balance improved flexibility. When your brain experiences different speeds, it adapts faster. After weeks of practice, something changed deeply inside him. He stopped fearing unexpected questions because he trusted his ability to begin. And beginning is the hardest part. Once the first sentence leaves your mouth, your brain relaxes. When your brain relaxes, connections form faster. He realized that speaking without pausing is not about having all answers ready. It is about being comfortable building answers in real time. This comfort comes from repetition, from small daily challenges, from choosing action over silence. Now Daniel was no longer the person who froze mid-sentence. He was someone who could handle pressure, manage small pauses, and continue speaking calmly. In the next part, we will explore the final layer of this journey: how to build long-term confidence so that fluent speaking becomes your natural state, not a temporary improvement. By this stage, Daniel could answer quickly. He could manage unexpected questions. He could continue speaking even when he felt slight pressure. But there was still one deeper layer left: long-term confidence. Because it is possible to improve for a few weeks and then slowly return to old habits. Daniel did not want temporary progress. He wanted permanent change. So he asked himself a powerful question: how do I make fluent speaking my normal state? The answer was not complicated. It was consistency. He stopped treating speaking practice as something extra. He made it part of his daily life. When he walked outside, he described his surroundings in English. When he watched a video, he paused and summarized it out loud. When he read an article, he explained the main idea in his own words. Speaking became natural, not scheduled. This reduced pressure even more. He also changed the way he saw mistakes. Before, every mistake felt like proof that he was not good enough. Now, mistakes felt like small corrections on a long journey. Instead of saying, "I spoke badly," he said, "I am improving." That shift protected his confidence. Daniel also understood something important about identity. If you see yourself as a person who pauses too much, your brain will continue acting that way. But if you slowly start seeing yourself as a person who is becoming fluent, your behavior begins to match that belief. So he changed his internal language. Not "I can't speak smoothly," but "I am training to speak smoothly." Not "I always freeze," but "I am learning to stay calm." Your brain listens to the story you repeat. Another powerful habit he built was reflection. At the end of each week, he asked himself 3 simple questions. Where did I speak better? Where did I pause less? What helped me most? This kept him aware of progress. Confidence grows when you notice improvement. Weeks turned into months. Something quiet but strong had changed inside him. In meetings, he no longer focused on how he sounded. He focused on what he wanted to say. In conversations, he listened calmly and answered clearly. When a pause appeared, it felt natural, not frightening. Fluency was no longer something he chased. It was something he practiced. And because he practiced it daily, it stayed with him. Daniel finally understood the full truth. Speaking without pausing is not about removing silence completely. It is about removing fear, organizing thoughts, trusting simple words, and repeating small actions every day. It is not talent. It is training. It is not speed. It is steadiness. It is not perfection. It is progress. If you follow the same path, slowly and patiently, your voice will change too. Not in one dramatic moment, but in quiet, consistent steps. And one day, without realizing it, you will be speaking in a meeting, in a class, or in a conversation, and you will notice something surprising. You are no longer afraid of silence. You are no longer fighting for words. You are simply speaking, and that is freedom. Months later, Daniel was invited to lead a larger presentation. More people, more pressure, more attention. But something was different this time. He did not rehearse perfect sentences. He did not try to sound impressive. He did not fight the idea of small pauses. He trusted his training. When he stood in front of the room, he felt the normal nervous energy, but it no longer controlled him. He began with one clear sentence, then another, then another. His ideas flowed naturally. When he needed a second to think, he used a calm bridge sentence. When he forgot a word, he replaced it smoothly. When a small pause appeared, he did not panic. He stayed steady. At the end of the presentation, there was applause. Not because he was perfect, not because he used difficult vocabulary, but because he was clear, calm, and confident. That was the real victory. Daniel did not become fluent in one day. He did not remove every pause forever. He simply trained his mind daily, reduced fear, simplified his thinking, and kept moving forward. And that is the lesson of this journey. You do not need to speak fast. You need to speak forward. You do not need perfect grammar. You need clear ideas. You do not need 0 pauses. You need 0 panic. Fluency is not a gift given to a few lucky people. It is a skill built by repetition, structure, and courage. Every time you choose to speak instead of staying silent, you are building strength. Every time you continue after a mistake, You are building rhythm. Every time you breathe calmly before answering, you are building control. Remember this. Your voice is not weak. It is just waiting to be trained. The pauses you fear today can become the calm moments you control tomorrow. The silence that once embarrassed you can become the space where your next strong idea begins. Start simple. Speak daily. Trust small progress. And never wait for perfection. Because the moment you stop fearing your own voice is the moment your true confidence begins. Thank you for staying on this journey. Keep practicing. Keep speaking. Keep growing. See you in the next video.